All right. Welcome to Wednesday night chats with dads. I am your host, King Smith, and this is my weekly live stream where I have a conversation with a dad out there and we just chop it up. We talk about all things life, all things dad related, and trying to have a good time. Uh this week's episode, I'm starting a little bit earlier out of respect for the guy who decided to share an hour with me. His name is Larry. Larry, I met back in 2006 in the most unforgettable way. The statute of limitations have not passed on how we met, so I would not be describing it. But he definitely made an impression since the first day that I've known him. Outside of that, I've gotten to know his family extremely well. And while we're not blood related, I consider him and his family family of mine as well. So, without further ado, let me bring the man in himself. Larry,
What's up, King? How are you?
what's
You're gonna
good,
make me
brother?
cry with those sweet words of yours.
Hey,
Yeah,
first of
I
all,
should have started with a dance or something. Bring us back to 2006.
oh man, I don't know if the world is ready for that, brother. I do not think that the world is ready for that. First of all, we have on matching same color
Yeah.
shirts. That was not planned, by the way. But you know what? Great minds think alike.
Oh yeah, King's lying to you guys. We planned it.
Well, hey man, thanks for coming on to my live stream. You've told me that you've watched some of my chats with Dad's live stream in the past, and first of all, dude, just thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate the offer. You know, I'm always here to support you and help you out, and I think what you're doing is a good thing.
All right, rock on, man. Well, so as I've kind of gave in the intro, you and I have met back in 2006 when you and I were both active duty Air Force. I'm no longer active duty, but you still are, man. Is that time wrapping up?
Yeah, actually, it's wrapping up fast. I'm planning on hitting the button this summer to retire. Probably looks like probably the end of next summer. My goal is probably to be terminal almost all of next summer into the fall, and it'll be 24 and a half years roughly. Time to move on.
Man.
I keep telling everybody it's time to grow up and move into the real world.
Hey man, I've been in the real world since what 2010, and it's a whole different ball game over here, brother.
Oh yeah, it makes me nervous. That's for sure. You
I
know,
understand that.
being in the military, stable. It's been the same way for 24 and a half years. I've never filled out a job resume before. I've really never interviewed for jobs or anything like that. So hopefully my experience and just my career will be able to help me out. And I've set myself up for the future, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have no doubt in my mind that while the transition is something that is different, all change is different, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about kind of taking those steps, man, as they and challenges as they come along. Um, so let me ask you, man. You've served over 24 years. Me and you both met during the same job, which is in-flight refueling. Have you always been a boom operator? I can't
Yeah, my
remember.
whole career. So I came in, my whole family wanted me to go Army. I was going to go to college, had a falling out with my family, and decided to come in the military. And all I told them was, hey, I need to get a flying job and I need to get as far away as possible. And came in as a boom operator, and my first duty station was Okinawa. So that was pretty damn far away. I've tried to get out a couple times, but with our manning and stuff, they wouldn't let me out. So here I am, been a boom the whole time, been in an operational squadron the whole time. I've seen it, done it. And there's not many things out there, boom operator wise, I don't know about.
That's good, man. Now, our job was a job that allowed us to travel. And since I
Mm-hmm.
know you and we're connected on social media, you have a lot of pictures of yourself and your family in a lot of different locations. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like traveling and seeing the world is important?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's one of the biggest things I'm going to miss is when I get out is not having that opportunity to travel. And I keep telling the family like, hey, we need to go on a trip. Let's get our passports. We're going to do this still. We've been lucky. We've lived in Japan for almost 8 years, England for 4. We've been able to see the whole world as a family. I've seen a lot of the world by myself as well. And to me, it's a big part of my life. And I miss it, and that's for sure. And then as I've gone up in rank, I keep sending all my young guys on all these trips, and I just sit there and shake my head like, oh man, I wish I was going on that trip right now, or crap, I have to be responsible and stay back. So
All right. Uh family life, man. When you joined the Air Force, were you married at the time? Did you have a family?
no,
Um,
I was single at the time. And then my first marriage, and then got married shortly after that, and then that was my first one, and then I met Chelsea in 2004. I hope she's not listening. I think it was around there. We've been together forever, so
hey man, that's that old man memory.
yeah, yeah. She asked me to get some stuff from the commissary today, and I completely forgot. I was there, but I forgot the stuff she asked for.
Let me ask you, like if you can recall your mindset being younger, in either both your first marriage and your current one, what made you do it? Like what made you go, you know what? I'm gonna marry her.
Oh, wow. I know I've always felt like I need people around, and I've always wanted that connection. I would say, um, I've never really felt like being single and being alone was my thing, and I
Mhm.
need that people aspect in my life.
Hey man, I'm the exact opposite of you.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
I like the people aspect around. Don't get me wrong, but I think
But
that
you
the
like to be
marriage
able
thing,
to go and say, "See you later. I'm on my own." Yeah.
yeah, 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 man. If that changes, if that person out there exists that would make me change my mind, that would be an interesting individual.
I bet she's gonna be a Tennessee fan. That's for sure.
Oh man, first of all, roll tide. Don't bring that mess over here into this show.
And definitely not a Hurricane fan. Can't be a Hurricane fan.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes to you being a dad or being a father, was that like a planned thing for you? Did you always know that at some point you wanted to have children, or
Uh,
did it just kind of
I don't think I ever
happen?
planned on it, but I mean, I knew I wanted kids. You know, I grew up with a big fam. Well, I grew up with my sister, and then I have some half siblings I grew up with as well. But I always knew I wanted kids. You know, I enjoy that aspect. They're older now and they frustrate me, but I'm glad I have them. I wouldn't take it back, and I love trying to help mature them and grow them and help them for the future and stuff like that. But
Hey man, hey,
I don't think I ever
exactly.
planned it though. I don't think I like. It's like I'm definitely gonna have kids. If it
Mm.
happened, it happened.
All right. And Chelsea had said that y'all met in 2003, married in 2004. So,
Okay.
try and find some place to store that in the old memory
I
banks.
know it's 18 years this fall though. I know that it'll
That's
be
what's
18
up.
years, I think, or 17. I don't know. It's
Hey
somewhere
man,
around there. It's
uh we've both had the luxury of at least seeing like our kids grow, right?
yeah,
Cuz I was stationed with you when me and Cassie had Castle,
yeah,
and y'all were around. Stephen Hines, man, just the whole.
yeah.
We had a pretty tight little clique. Uh, what can you tell me? What were your thoughts about me when I first became a dad? Yeah, lay it all out there.
Oh man, I still can't believe you're a dad. I still remember you bringing Castle over to our house to change diapers, dirty diapers, because you were not going to do it, and Cassie was either at work or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, I felt so bad for Cassie. I was like, oh, why did they have a kid? I mean, poor. No, I mean, I knew you were going to be a good dad and stuff, but you were not having that baby stuff at all,
Yeah,
not one bit.
yeah, man, and kind of versus the otherwise, man. You were like, you know, oh man, this is easy, man. So
Oh
this
yeah.
ain't nothing.
No, I
Um,
didn't. Yeah, I didn't think it wasn't a big deal for me. You know, I don't mind changing the diapers and all that stuff. I mean, wouldn't say I enjoy it, but it's part of being a parent. I felt, and it. I now the gross ones. Well, those were the wife. The wife did those, so I would be like about to puke and stuff.
you're like, hey, here
Yeah,
you go.
those. There were some that I handed her off, like handed both all my kids off and said, "Here you go." But yeah, when we found out you were going to be a dad, we were like, "Holy crap! God help the world." So
Hey man, so you and I are both dads of girls.
Yeah.
You have both boy, both sides of the spectrum, if you
Yep.
will. What's the difference, man, in your opinion, with raising kids that aren't the same gender?
I'm really noticing it now because Caden's will be about 13, Gabby's 10, and my oldest is 20. I wasn't able really to be in my oldest's life because of things that happened and everything like that. And then also she was born like a month and a half prior to September 11th. So when
Mm,
that happened, I mean, you know how the world flipped upside down and I was constantly gone and with that divorce and I wasn't really in her life. But with currently with Caden and Gabriella, um, Caden is about to be 13 and Gabby's 10. And there's definitely a difference in maturity level that they don't lie when they say girls mature much faster than boys. And
really?
I see it today. So Gabby's definitely a little bit more mature. She's a little bit more responsible. And Caden is that typical 12 to 13-year-old boy. And I sit back and I'm like, wow, I hope I wasn't like that. And I'm sure I was. I 100% know I am. So and he's growing to be a wonderful young man and all that, but I'm still waiting on him to, you know, figure out that maturity and grow up a little bit. Whereas, they don't lie. Girls definitely are mature and grow up much faster.
Hmm.
So,
And you know what, dude? Like, I have to tell you, man, both those little, like, I say little kids, but they're growing big
oh yeah,
time, man. I saw pictures that your wife had up on Facebook of, I guess, them finishing out their
yeah.
current
Their last day
grades.
of school was last week. Yeah, Caden's 5'2" and Gabby's a little over 5 feet.
Golly, Kaden might be taller than me next year.
Yeah, and he hasn't even hit his growth spurt yet. He's been about this. He's grown like an inch or two in the last year, but he has not hit his growth spurt at all. And I'm waiting
Man.
for it to happen. I think he'll be taller than me. I think he'll be like 5'10", 5'11". And I'm like, come on, let's go, let's go. So
Um, I see that y'all are heavily invested in keeping them active.
yeah,
One's well, they're both in athletics, right?
yeah, they're both
Um,
in travel teams. So Gabby is a competitive cheerleader, and Caden is a travel soccer player. We're trying to get him into other sports. He really wants to play other sports, but his travel team takes a lot of his time. Me, I'm a big athletic guy. I love sports. Sports has always been a big part of my life, and I definitely pushed it on both of the kids. And it happens that they both enjoy it at the same time.
nice.
Caden, I huge football fan. I always thought my son would play football, but you remember he had epilepsy when he was little, so
That's right.
we've kept him out of football. But we're at that point now where like he begs us every single day, "Can I try out? Can I try out? Can I try out? Can I try out?" Because all he does is play football at school.
Hmm.
So we've thought about it, but he's a big soccer player. He enjoys it a lot. And I think athletics helps with camaraderie, leadership, being responsible, maturity. It helps you for your future. Gabby, we were just looking for something, and we were thinking gymnastics, and next thing we know, goes the competitive cheerleading, and turns out she's really, really good at it. So all the dads out there, don't put your daughter in cheer. It's expensive as hell. It's so much money, especially travel cheer like this. You have no idea. And the thing is, she's really good at it and she loves it. So we can't take it away from her. So it's just
Ah,
out of my pocketbook or checkbook every month.
uh-huh.
So, but she's really good, really, really good at it. So,
How do y'all find the time to balance all of that between you know, you and your spouse's work-life balance, as well as the kids and like managing school and their extracurriculars? How do y'all do it, man?
well, we were in North Carolina and the squadron closed. When we moved up here to Spokane, one of the reasons, I actually live in Idaho and I commute to work about 30 to 45 minutes every day. So we're only about 15 minutes from Chelsea's job, and her job is more or less school hours. So she's really good about. She gets Gabby to cheer. I get Kate into soccer. I try to get off. I go to work early so I can get off early to get him to his sports. But it's just communication, making sure we're there and helping each other out. It helps that I'm towards the end of my career too, as well. I can manage my time and stuff like that. But we figure it out. There's times it's tough where, like I'll have to do both, or Chelsea does both, or something like that. Like Gabby just went to Florida for a week for the big national competition. I couldn't go because we were in the middle of inspection. So Kaden stayed here with me, and she went down there. We figured it out. I would say lessons learned. There's pros and cons to it. We've messed it up. We figured it out, but we do our best.
Hey man, that's the key. I was having a conversation with somebody this past weekend, right? And he's about the same age as me. His kid's the same age as mine, and he said he still feels like he's learning, and he's actually a little bit older than me. And but one of the things that we kind of ended that conversation and talked about is, like life is really still about learning, right? You're kind of figuring things out, on the go. I don't consider myself an expert in anything, but you have people that say, hey, if you can teach it to somebody, then you can pseudo sort of be an expert. But being men, or being a dad, it's a lifelong thing, man.
Oh, I think you. I don't think. I think you're going to be learning until the day you die, though. Like you're
Yeah.
never. You're always learning. There's always something new happening. There's always something. The way you speak to somebody could be different. The way you write an email, the way you treat your kids, the way you talk to your spouse, all of that stuff. You're always going to be learning, no matter what. And I think for the people that say they're never learning, I think they're wrong.
Hmm.
And I think they're looking at life a little bit on the wrong side, philosophy wise.
Oh.
I think we can always do better and learn. And so I'm learning every single day. If you think about it, like I'm about to learn civilian life. I don't know what the hell that's like. I have no idea what civilian life is at all. And it's a giant, it scares the hell out of me. That's about, well, that's my next step. You know what I mean? I mean, I
Hmm.
learned, Chelsea and I have been talking about this recently. I've been learning with Caden. I have to start treating him more as a young adult and not a child anymore, you know,
Mm.
and that's been really hard on me because he's not a child. He's turning into a young man, and I need to think about what I say to him and how I say it to him. And when they say, "Well, Dad, why can't I do that?" I need to actually give him a reason and say, "Well, just because I'm your dad, I can tell you no." You know, so little stuff like that. I'm learning every day, and I'm having a hard time with that one. So because Kaden and I butt heads a lot right now, and I think that's just because of the whole maturity. Because I expect him to be a young man and mature. And Chelsea's like, "Hey, he's not one of your airmen. He's your son." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, he's 100% my son." So
What do you think about? I think that there's at some point, and I don't know if you did because I don't know your relationship with your father, but it seems like at some point the sons try to challenge the dads in their teenage years, man. Cause that's something that you thought about. Did
oh
you
yeah,
do it?
mine is very very vivid. When my dad and I challenged him.
Hmm.
I was like 16 or 17 years old, and I challenged him, and he put me in my place. Boy, did he
Mm.
put me in my place! And I learned real fast that I'm still a kid in his eyes, and or a young man, and not to challenge him. So um, I think I think I hope to have a better relationship with my kids than I have with my parents, and that's something that I got to work on myself.
Hmm.
So, and hopefully I teach them the right way.
Hey man, that's some of the stuff that you have to think about. Just today, right? My daughter just completed eighth grade, like technically. They
Mm-hmm.
still have a day of school tomorrow. And they did this really cool thing. And I'm a big believer in symbolism, where they have what's normally called a clap out, right? At
Mm-hmm.
the end of their last school day, they'll go down the hallways, and all of the teachers line up on both sides, and they give them like a clap out, symbolizing them leaving middle school, going to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with COVID, they couldn't do that. So instead, they did like a drive through clap out, which I thought was still dope. Um, but the reason why I bring that up today, I worked. Like I had my normal work job. My kid's mom also worked as well. But what I'm really thankful for is trying to realize what's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fortunate enough to have a job that gives some really good work life balance in that I was able to take off for a couple of hours during the workday to make that event, and to have my daughter go through it, and then to see the smile on her face. That was really awesome. Now I bring that up to say, you've been in the military for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and your kids grew up in the military. You've probably missed a couple of milestones as they were growing up, and being older. Is that a priority for you now that you're about to make this transition? Is to try to have more of that time to like not miss those type of milestones?
Oh yeah, for sure. I the last few years that was part of the reasoning we moved over kind of the Idaho as well, is because we're making that transition. You know, we've kind of moved away from the base. I don't have like all the Air Force friends and all that because we're building. Hey, I'm not gonna be around the military forever, but I tell a couple of my bosses and commander and all that, about a couple years ago, and when I was in North Carolina, I was like, you know what, it's time to put the family first. So I have no problem leaving work to go take Kate in the soccer. That's why I try really hard to always be there as much as possible, to go to every game and everything that I possibly can go. And I think I've done a good job of making it a priority the last few years as well, because I've
Nice.
missed.
Good
I mean,
deal.
like you said, we've missed a lot.
Hey man, since our kids are both kind of like close in the same age, at least our oldest, the ones that are 13 and 14.
Yeah.
Um, have you had the sex ed talk yet with him?
Oh, King, I think Caden's following in your steps. He wants to be a comedian, I think. And
Why do you say that?
all of his jokes are so R-rated that I just sit there and I just want to fist bump him, but I'm laughing so hard on the inside, but I'm like, Caden, you can't say that, buddy. You're 12. You're not like he is his jokes. This is not a fan. Well, it might be a family show. So here, this is an example of his joke, and this is one of the only ones I can ever remember. But he asked me a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Hey, Dad, why did Belle get kicked out of Disney World?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Belle sat on Pinocchio's face and told Pinocchio, lie to me, to lie to me, to lie to me."
Yo.
And Chelsea and I are like cracking up laughing. We're turning around and we are just oh, it's so hilarious. But then we turn around and we're like, Keaton, please don't ever repeat that. Don't tell anybody at school that. But he just off the cuss, he's just like, we'll say something and he'll go, that's what she said. And I'm like, so no, I wouldn't say we've had that talk yet, but he definitely knows what's going on.
How
Like,
how comfortable are you even thinking about it? Knowing that it's around about that time, man.
well, my parents, so I don't think we have ever sheltered our kids. My parents didn't shelter me. I let him more or less play the video games he wants. I let him watch what he wants and stuff like that. I mean, there are times where like there's something on TV and I'm like, all right, cover your eyes or blanket over your face or cover your earmuffs or something like that. I mean, there's a time and a place for it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people thinking that my 10-year-old's watching porn or anything like that. No, that's not happening. I promise. But I think we're pretty comfortable with it. Like, I asked him, or he asked me an honest question about puberty. He's like, when do I hit puberty? How do I know I'm hitting puberty? And I said, your voice is going to change. You're going to start getting muscles. You're going to get hair on your legs and that. And he goes, oh, I'm going to get hair on my nuggets too, right, Dad? And I was like, yeah, you're going to get hair on your nuggets as well, son. So, I mean, you know me, King. I'm pretty open, and I'm pretty open with him about that stuff. So, I mean, as long as I teach him the right and wrong about it, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
So,
How often do you and Chelsea differ on certain things as far as like discipline or just kind of fundamental philosophies on certain things?
I think discipline overall, we're pretty even keel and we agree. I think I'm a lot more organized. I'm more of the school kit person and stuff like that. So I think, you know, we've had to meet in the middle when it comes to grades for the kids. We've had to meet in the middle when it comes to homework and all that. Yeah, that's been a little bit on the tougher because for me, school was always easy. I was an A student. I didn't have any issues with it. Gabby's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Caden hates school. And Chelsea and I met in the middle and I was like, fine, Caden can be a C student. I'm okay with that. But she has agreed like D's and F's won't happen and stuff like that. So that was where we definitely had to meet him because for me, I was like, if it's a B or if it's below a B, he's grounded. And she's like, you can't be doing that. And that's where she helped me with, hey, our kids are different. They all learn different. They're not you. They're not little clones of you or anything like that. They have their own personalities. They're their own person. They're everything. And that's who he is. And And my biggest thing with that is with him is the potential he has,
Mm.
like, and what I expect, and believing in yourself. And like, I know it's in there, but getting him to understand that and believe it. So, but I would say overall, we're pretty good about it.
Okay. Yeah. Fairly consistent and on the same page for the
Most of
most
the
part.
time. Most of the time.
You know, that's I was having a conversation with Cassie about Castle today because, like I said, she wasn't able to make that event, but I wanted to tell her about it, and we got to talking about her grades. Like Castle's passionate about art. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak art
Mm-mm.
whatsoever, but I want to try to support the thing that she likes to do. I'm also trying to marry. How can that make you money, or how can you make a living? With that, she's extremely talented. But she will sit down and grind and figure out how to make something work either on print or digital. But if she struggles on an assignment, it's almost like she just doesn't put in that same effort, and that's what's frustrating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because kind of going into high school, like your grade point average matters, right?
Yeah.
And me and you differ on the fact that to me, C's get degrees. So, you know, I would I would expect, and this is the thing that I told her is, hey, look, I expect you to at least put your best effort out there. I'm not expecting you to be freaking
Yeah.
Einstein,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
agree.
And she finished with A's and B's, but in one particular subject, which was language arts, she's gonna have a high C average. Part of it, I think, is just her own effort because it's not like she doesn't know, you know, uh, uh, paragraph structure breakdown. She had one assignment was like, "Hey, Dad, I need help." I was like, "Yeah, all right, cool." I get there and I see the assignment and I'm looking at it like, I'm like,
You're like, Google, here I come,
let me
Google.
go to Google or
Oh
YouTube,
yeah.
man, to try to figure this out.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
know all about that. I 100% agree with you and believe in what you're saying when it comes to effort. Caden got a D in math this last semester, and it was all because he didn't put the effort into it.
mhm.
Had he put the effort into it, he would have got a C. And I keep telling him, I'm like, if you get C's and you did 100%, you did the best that I know you can do. Okay, whatever, that happens. But when I pull something out and go, what is this? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And then I look and I find out it was an assignment he didn't turn in, and he lost 12
Mm,
points for it. I'm like, okay, that's just because you didn't care. And and it's not even about school now. That teaches them about life. Like whatever you're gonna do, you put your best foot forward and you try your best. And that comes like even with chores. Like Caden didn't do a chore the other day very well, and I got really upset at him about it. And the problem was I asked him blankly about it. Did you do it? And did you do it well? Yeah, Dad, I got it. And then when I went to check, it wasn't done. And I was like, it has nothing to do with you not doing it. It has to do 100% do with the effort you put into it. And you
exactly.
didn't put the effort in. So that means you don't care. And I'm like, you can't do that with life. So, and it's trying to mold them into young adults. And as
Yes,
Chelsea keeps saying, is they're still kids, Larry.
man.
And it's really hard to balance that. It's so hard to balance that.
It is. It is indeed really hard to balance it. I'm trying to plan a trip with Castle because she was born over in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
And now that COVID and stuff starting to ease up the travel restrictions and things, I like to take her to her birthplace or at
Yeah.
least get to Japan, but also let's make a hop over to
Okinawa.
yep. And since she's going into high school, I struggled with all right, during the summer, which she'll primarily be staying with me. Let her just still be a kid, relax or whatnot. But then there's the other side of me that goes, hey, I probably need to try to prep you a little bit on, how to have some type of work ethic because high school is not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And getting her some type
Yeah.
of preparatory work while
Yeah.
she's going to be with me, man, here during the summer. But I also bring that up too. Are you teaching your kids about money like now? Because money's different, man. A lot of stuff's a lot more digital. Like I don't keep cash in my
I don't have cash at
wallet
all. We don't
ever.
ever
I'm
have cash.
swapping and stuff all the time.
I wouldn't say quite. They know what it is. They, and they understand it. They ask for it a lot. They ask for a lot of things in the store. I think we're waiting a little bit until they're a little bit older in high school until they get their first job. I think that's something I wish my parents would have taught me, was money and credit and all that stuff. My parents didn't teach me any of that, and we learned the hard way when it
Same
came to
here.
that stuff. We made our mistakes. So I definitely know what I need to teach the kids and how to prepare them. I expect both of them to work and stuff like that, though, once they hit that age, not full time or anything like that, but they need to learn that if they want things, it's going to take money, and they need a job and all that. But I think I'm prepping them on that. Like Katie and I were talking, the water park here. I'm like, hey, good job for you. Could be a lifeguard there. And he's like, oh yeah, it's a great idea. And he loves the water. He loves being outside and all that. So did you freeze, King? Did I lose you? Hello. King. I think we're currently having technical difficulties.